Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Oliver Sellers-Garcia, the Director of the Office of Sustainability and Environment for the City of Somerville. And I'm joined today by Philip Carr, the New England Regional Director of Good Energy. And we're going to be talking a little bit about a new energy program that's coming to Somerville called Somerville Community Choice Electricity. The City of Somerville, with support of a community task force and the Board of Aldermen, initiated this program in order to lower and stabilize electricity costs for residents of Somerville, and also to affordably introduce more green power into our energy supply. So Philip and I are going to talk a little bit about some of the questions that we think are going to be on your mind as residents and small business owners in Somerville, and tell you where you can learn more about this program. So let's ask the basic question. This is a community electricity aggregation program. What is that all about, and what, from both the law and the goals of such a program?
Right. Well, Oliver, thank you for having us on the show this morning. So essentially, community electricity aggregation is the bulk purchase of electricity for all of the residential and business accounts within Somerville that have not already selected a third-party competitive electricity supplier. So you will know if you have already selected a third-party competitive electricity supplier. It is a law that's been on the books in Massachusetts for almost 20 years now. And it is very much a wave across the country. There are other states as well where aggregation exists, like in California, New Jersey, Ohio, Rhode Island, Illinois, and Massachusetts actually was the first place to pass the law. And it is a very good way to take control of your electricity. Right now, electricity rates are set by auctions, which are essentially run by the state government at specific times of year within the Eversource utility, which covers Somerville. The issue with some of the electricity rates is that they can be highly volatile. They go up and down a lot. If you look over the last 6 to 7 years, you'll have seen the rates being very low, and you've seen them be very high. And they change every 6 months. What you can do with aggregation is you can bring in rate stability, where you can actually get one fixed rate that won't change for 12 or 24 months. You can, as you said, look to buy at a strategic time in the market. So rather than the state-mandated purchase of electricity, which takes place on specific days of the year, regardless of market conditions, with aggregation, you can actually buy when you feel that there is an opportune time in the market. And also, crucially, as far as Somerville is concerned, you can incorporate local renewable energy into the supply additional to that which is already mandated by the state. So you can essentially take the state-mandated amount of renewable electricity and go, which is increasing at about 1% a year. Somerville is going to go and increase 5% above the renewable portfolio standard, which means you're essentially going to be 5 years ahead of where the state is.
Great. And this is something that's catching on in other Massachusetts municipalities.
Starting the first communities to do this were the Cape Light Compact back in the early 2000s. And there was a bit of a lull, and then really about 2 years ago, a lot of communities started moving forward. So I would say Somerville is really in the middle of a body of communities, the middle of the wave, I would say. So in around the Boston metropolitan area, Brookline, Melrose, as you say, is initiated their program in January of this year. You have Arlington, Gloucester, Sudbury, Winchester, many communities in around the Boston area moving forward with this. And also all over the Commonwealth. On the South Shore, most of the South Shore communities are doing it. New Bedford, South Coast communities, New Bedford, Fall River. And even out west, out in the Berkshires, communities are doing it. up north, Gloucester is doing it. So this is really a widespread phenomena.
Great. And while we're talking about Arlington and Sudbury, it's worth mentioning that we are working with Good Energy, who we hired through a competitive process. You and your competitors submitted different proposals, and we actually teamed with Arlington and Sudbury and some other towns in the Boston area to collectively put our heads together and select Good Energy as a broker. Maybe you can tell us just a little bit about the different players in an aggregation program. So there's the city, there's the broker, there's the third-party supplier, there's the residents, lots of people here. How does that all fit together?
Yeah, great question. Okay, so how do we accomplish our goal? So the city essentially hires an aggregation consultant. What are we doing for you as a consultant? well, crucially, the first thing we have to do is we have to get your plan approved. You have an aggregation plan which outlines, for example, the amount of additional local renewable energy you want. And this plan has to be approved by the Department of Public Utilities. So that's a process that takes about 6 to 8 months. Once that plan's approved, then all of the electric accounts pulled from Eversource, from the utility, will then be put out to bid with competitive suppliers. So, for example, Good Energy is your consultant. We're not a supplier, so we will essentially take all of these accounts and shop them in a competitive bid with at least 3 other responsible suppliers. Once that has happened, a price will be presented to the city, and the city will deem whether it's in the best interests of its residents and businesses to move forward with a contract for 12, 18, or 24 months, in some cases longer. When the contract is signed, an opt-out letter is then sent out to every single residential and business account in Somerville that is not already on with a third-party supplier. So that letter will outline the rate of the program. Now bear in mind, if the program is going to run for 24 months, that rate that you're going to see on the bill will only show the current rate from Eversource for the next 6 months. And it's important to realize with these programs that the goal is to save you money over the duration of the contracted term. You will not necessarily be under the utility rate for every single rate change. So benchmark your savings annually and then over the contracted term. So coming back to the opt-out letter, on that letter as well, you'll see that there are various product options. The product options are you are going to be automatically enrolled with a default service supply, which is, say for example, it's a 24-month term. It'll be 24-month term, including 5% additional renewable energy included into the mix. If you like, you can upgrade by actually calling the supplier to 100%, or downgrade, maybe downgrade is not the right term, but choosing to have no additional renewable energy in the mix, and just being able to enjoy the benefits of the program without paying a small amount extra for the additional renewable energy. And I think it's important to specify that the cost of local renewable energy at 5% is not substantial. We're talking on an average bill a few dollars a month. However, the impact you have when you take 5% additional local renewable energy across the whole of Somerville has a massive impact and is very important when it comes to fighting climate change. So you make those choices. You either do nothing, you'll be automatically enrolled. If you don't want to participate in the program, you send back the letter. If you want to choose a different product, you call the supplier saying, no extra green for me, or actually I want more green, I want 100%.
That's a really good point. Yeah, one of the reasons is this seems like a no-brainer, and why I'm guessing so many communities are doing this, and including renewable energy, is that you can get more renewable energy for the same or less price. So you're saving money and you're helping stimulate the generation of more renewable energy that supplies all of us.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what this means for a typical resident and electric consumer in Somerville. So there's some basic things. This is just for electricity, not natural gas. And then we're all wondering about our bills. Is the billing going to change, and what happens if there's service disruption? Tell us a little bit about what it's going to be like for a resident once they're already living in the program.
Perfect. So operationally, nothing's going to change. Now the city is doing outreach to educate the residents so they understand what's coming, what their options are. But with the best will in the world, it's not possible to educate everybody. If you don't see this video, or if you miss some of the other publications, you probably wouldn't even know this is happening, because operationally it's seamless. So we're only talking about the supply portion of your bill. This doesn't affect the delivery portion of your bill. You must think of Eversource as really a delivery company. Think of them as like UPS or FedEx. Their job is to deliver power. But actually where that power comes from is a pass-through for them. So they're passing on power at cost. They get paid to the upkeep of the lines. So you will have exactly the same quality of service once you're enrolled in the new program as you had before. Okay, and that's a very important point. If you have an outage, you call Eversource. When ice storm comes through, you call Eversource. Nothing changes from that point of view. The only thing that will change, you will still receive one bill, but on that one bill, where it says supply charges, you will see a very small name next to it, which will be the winning supplier's name on your bill. So same bill, just winning supplier's name next to supply charges.
Great. So your bills stay the same. You can still do budget billing. Your
Yep.
meter stays the same.
Yes.
Basically, you're still Eversource's customer.
Correct.
Because they're still the company that's delivering your electricity to you.
Absolutely. You're still their customer. They want to look after you, and they're very helpful and positive about aggregation generally.
Great. And a lot of us in Somerville have been receiving offers in the mail to switch our electricity supplier. Can you tell us a little bit about how this program compares to those, just in terms of making a decision?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of offers out there. It's a little bit like the Wild West. So some of those offers are reputable. Some of them are misleading and are not highly reputable, let's say, to put it nicely. So it can be a challenge to figure out which are beneficial and which are not. For example, you may have a letter which identifies a rate which is much lower than the utility rate and may seem to be lower than the aggregation rate. However, it might have something like a monthly fee on the side. There's lots of little ways, or there may be a termination fee of $50 or $100 or $200. So if you want to shop around, look for termination fees. That's key. If there's no termination fees and you check the small print, that's a good thing. Termination fees are our first concern, and then look for any other hidden fees. It's a competitive market, and so the great thing about the aggregation program is you're not locked into it. So if you're in the aggregation program and you suddenly see an offer come through your mail that you like, you can call up, terminate the aggregation for your household, and then go and take that competitive offer. There's nothing precluding you from doing that, because there are no termination fees with the Somerville program.
That's a really important point. You can drop out of the program with zero penalty at any point, from the very first month to the very end.
Absolutely right. Yep.
And how about if you move?
So if you move, it's as though you are. So if you get a new account, a new meter, you'll be automatically enrolled in the new program.
Great. We have a lot of information, and we'll have more and more information on a website that is specifically dedicated to this, and that's somervillecce.com. As with all matters sustainability, you can also go to the city sustainability website, Sustainaville. That's somervillema.gov/Sustainaville, and there's information on the aggregation program there as well. Are there any other key points you want to leave us with, or send everyone to the website to learn about events and more information?
Yeah, no, I think it's an exciting program. There are many communities doing this right now, and what it really does is it brings a responsible choice to your residents. which also increases local renewable energy at a time when we need to be thinking about these kind of things.
Great. All right. Thanks for chatting, and check out somervillecce.com. And thank you for watching this video.